Morning, Aldo. What are we doing today?
We're gonna be doing one thing, and one thing only. Killing Nazis.
It's the 5th day in a row. Ugh. Fine. How many scalps this time?
100 Nazi scalps!
Ugh. This is getting out of hand. Do you know how many machetes I go through in a month? This Biden inflation is absolutely killing me. All this non-return investment on the Nazi scalps is absolutely not a sustainable business model.
I want my scalps!
Fine. Hey, I got a new guy you might want to take a look at. His name's Tommy. He's Finnish. He's an ex-commando. He does a lot of gold panhandling now, I guess. But his ex-soldiers called him the Immortal. We really need a replacement now that AOC is going Twitch full-time.
Well, ain't that nice?
Yes, it is. Now, here's some of his highlights. What do you think?
I think this just might be my masterpiece.
What? I just showed him to you. How is he your masterpiece? You know what? Whatever. I will just tell him it's a yes. Let me go get him and his dog. It's 1944, and Nazi Germany is losing the war. Finland makes a treaty with the Soviet Union ending aggression between the two countries if they remove the Germans from Finland. Taking a scorched earth policy approach, the Nazis destroy and burn everything in their path as they retreat into Norway. Amid this chaos stands Tommy Korpi, played by Jorma Tommila, a former Finnish commando who spends his days panning for gold with his horse and dog, Tommy's only companions. After discovering a rich gold deposit, Tommy fills 2 duffel bags full of gold nuggets and heads to town, hoping to cash in on his new fortune. Unfortunately, Tommy runs afoul of a 30-man Wehrmacht platoon led by SS Obersturmfuhrer Bruno Heldorf, played by Axel Henny. Unfortunate, that is, for the platoon. When the group decides to steal Tommy's gold, they soon discover why his fellow soldiers nicknamed him the Immortal, and what it truly means to possess Sisu. I've said it before, and I'll reiterate it now. The best thing about being a film reviewer is running across those films you didn't see coming. Somehow they drift across your radar unexpectedly and leave an impression with their sheer power and audacity. Afterwards, you feel gobsmacked, unsure of your cinematic footing, but absolutely convinced you've witnessed greatness. It's the kind of film I live for. Sisu is one of those movies. Powerful, frenetic, brilliantly shot, with impeccable action and some of the best Nazi killing this side of Aldo Rain's band of merry men, Sisu grabs you by your adrenal glands and doesn't let go for 91 minutes. A throwback to the revenge-o-matics of the 1970s that Lady Snowblood and Rolling Thunder would be proud of, it's easily the most fun I've had at the movies all year. Naturally, Sisu will draw comparison to 2009's Inglourious Bastards, and to an extent it's warranted. Both films are divided into chapters: Gold, the Nazis, the Minefield, the Legend, Scorched Earth, and Kill Them All, and both involve the vicious slaughter of Nazis. However, that's about where the similarities end. As much as I love Tarantino's masterpiece, Sisu comes across much leaner and meaner, with Joku Veroalinen's slick editing keeping the film consistently taut and tight. There's about as much fat on this film as a Tommy, and the movie is better for it. Despite being a World War II movie, Sisu feels much like a Sergio Leone spaghetti western, with Jorma Tommila as the stand-in for Clint Eastwood's Man with No Name. Even though writer-director Jalmari Halander's story is relatively straightforward, that doesn't mean there isn't room for nuance. This comes via Jorma Tommila, who gives a stunning lead performance. With only 5 lines in the entire movie, everything is told in glances, glares, hand gestures, and body movement. Sisu often feels damn close to a silent film in this regard. Helander also chooses rightly to give the Nazis 0 redeeming value whatsoever. They are soulless, evil monsters that rape, pillage, steal, murder, and destroy with impunity. You absolutely cannot wait for their comeuppance, and when the uppance comes, you will squeal with delight. What's astonishing to me is that though a mostly physical role, Tommila exhibits a pathos I wasn't expecting. Yes, he wants to secure his gold, but he never comes across as greedy or beholden to it. In fact, In watching his reaction at the discovery of the gold and his will to keep it, you get the sense that the shadow of his dead wife lies heavy on him, almost as if the act was something they were meant to do together. Atami's love for animals, especially his dog, also endears you to him. These details give the story more narrative heft and made me root for Atami that much more. Due to the paucity of dialogue, Highlander is forced to rely on the camera to tell the story, and he does so to great effect. Cinematographer Kyle Lagerus provides the tools for Highlander's design, shooting the sweeping vistas of Lapland as if they were the American plains. There's plenty of wide and mid shots that either zoom or dolly in and linger on faces just a bit longer than you expect to accentuate the emotional impact. I was particularly moved by a scene where main baddie Bruno lets Atami finish gathering his gold nuggets when they're knocked away from him. There's plenty of old school Western camera motifs as well, whether it is intrepid heroes walking out of the smoke and fog or Atami standing alone before a tank onslaught. The action sequences, from firefights to one-on-one violent beatings, are framed and filmed with tenacity and passion. There's even a nod to a famous sequence in Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is like if Open Range, Mad Max, Once Upon a Time in the West, and Dirty Harry had a kid. The creative variety of the kills in Sisu are absolutely insane. Throwing an active mine in a Nazi's head? Check. Death by rock? You want it, you got it. Covert underwater shenanigans? Send it on down. A unique airplane kill? As Vincent Hanna says in Heat, "Give me all you got! Vincent, give me all you got!" They are all enhanced by a searing and unique score from Yuri Sepa and Tomas Wainola. Think Ennio Morricone's For a Few Dollars More by way of Jack Nietzsche in The Exorcist and Hans Zimmer in The Dark Knight, with a little Sardaukar throat singing thrown in for good measure. And you'll be near the mark. And the grit and sheer will of Atami? Well, Sisu is a Finnish word that doesn't have a translation, but it basically means strength of will, determination, and perseverance in the face of adversity. It's the ability to sustain courage against hopeless odds. They should have a picture of Atami next to this word in the Finnish dictionary. This man willfully sets himself on fire, bandages himself up without anesthetic, and does something to survive a hanging that would have made John Wick proud. Atami is an unstoppable force who earns the nickname Koshai, which means immortal. I loved every second he was on screen. People may end up dismissing Sisu as a simple revenge tale, but don't make that mistake. There's much more than meets the Panzer tank in this one. Does it go off the rails cuckoo bananas in the third act? Yes, but in the best way possible. Like its lead character, Sisu goes ham the entire time and left me with a satisfied, revenge-sated grin on my face when the credits rolled. This is absolutely a 10 and totally a must-see.